Hello, today we're going to be using function equations to do one of two things. We're either going to be finding the value of a function at a certain x value, or we're going to be working backwards. They're going to give us a h of x, f of x, whatever value. We need to work backwards to find x. So these first four, I have a letter and then in parentheses a number. The letter says this is the function I need to use. The number inside the parentheses says please plug this in for x. Up here we have some functions, f of x, g of x, and h of x. So when we do these, we need to be careful to find the right equation and to put our numbers in the right spots. Let's try this one. We have f of 2. That means use f function, and then 2 goes in for x. So I'm going to take my f of x equation, f of, instead of x, I'm going to plug in that 2, equals negative, once again x is 2, plus 4. This side f of 2 doesn't mean f times 2, it just means the value of my function f when x equals 2. To do the other side, you can do this all in your calculator, Desmos, by hand, whatever. I'm going to just kind of talk us through it. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0. So that what I would say is that when f of 2 equals 0. That means when I plug in 2 for x into my f function, I get 0. Let's try a few more of those. The next one is using g. So we're going to use our g equation. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. When we use our g equation, it's going to be whatever squared minus 3. They're telling us to plug in 1/2. This 1/2 is going to go in for x. So g of 1/2 is going to be 1/2 instead of x squared minus 3. You can simplify this in Desmos, by hand, whatever. 1/2 squared is 0.25 minus 3. So our final answer for that is going to be negative 2.75. So how we would say this is we would say g of 1/2 equals negative 2.75. When I plug in 1/2, I get negative 2.75 using my g function. Next one is f of 0. That means that we need to use our f equation. Instead of x, we're going to be putting in 0. Oops, I wrote x, I meant to write 0. There we go. Now we're going to simplify this out. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. So I get f of 0 equals 4. When I plug 0 into my f function, I get 4 as my answer. One more like this. This time we need to use our h equation, which is this one. H of x is 6 divided by x. So if I'm going to do h of 0.25, it's going to be 6 over 0.25. You can simplify this by hand with Desmos, whatever. 6 divided by 0.25 is 24. So we would say that h of 0.25 equals 24. The rest of these, notice they look a little different. It doesn't just say letter function, letter name of function, and a number to plug in. It's the other way around. They want us to find x, instead of plugging in x, we're finding x if f of x equals 12. So what we need to do is, using our f equation, since it's saying f, we are going to put 12 in the f of x spot. So 12 goes in for f of x. Everything else stays the same. If you didn't have this right here, if you just had what's written in green, that looks like an equation that we know how to solve. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We want to get x by itself. Undo plus 4 by subtracting 4. And then last but not least, we are going to divide. We get x equals negative 4 when we do that. So what that means is if my f of x value, or y value, if you want to think of it that way, is 12, then the x value that goes with it is negative 4. Let's try some more. This time, we're still finding x, but we're using our h of x equation. H of x equals 2 over 3. So we're going to use our h of x equation, but plug 2 over 3 in for h of x. So 2 over 3 goes here, equals 6 over x. This also looks like an equation that we know how to solve. This is just proportion. Remember, for proportions, we cross multiply. One side is 2 times x, or 2x. The other side is 3 times 6, which is 18. Solve it out. We get x equals 9. So if h of x is 2 over 3, that means the x value that we plugged in to get that must be 9. Couple more. Next one, still using h of x, but this time we are saying that h of x equals something with an x in it. It is perfectly fine for our h of x to still have an x in it. All that means is we're going to use our h equation. Instead of h of x, we're going to plug in that crazy fraction, negative 2 over x minus 3 equals the other side of my equation, which is 6x, or 6 over x. From here, we solve this like we normally do with proportions by cross multiplying. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then I need to do 6 times x minus 3. Solve this like a regular equation. So I need to start by distributing my 6. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 3 is negative 18. And then I need to get my x's on the same side. I'm going to subtract 6x. I get negative 8x equals negative 18. And then last but not least, I'm going to divide to get x completely by itself. When we do that, we get x equals 2.25. You can use Desmos, you can do things by hand. Either way is fine. Last but not least, they are saying we want to find x if f of x, we're using this equation, equals 16. Since f of x equals 16, we're going to put 16 here instead of f of x. Everything else stays the same. And just like with these other ones, we're now going to solve that equation. Undo plus 4 by subtracting 4. 16 minus 4 is 12. And then last but not least, divide to get x by itself. And you get negative 6 for x. So that means if our f of x value is 16, then the x value we must have plugged in must have been negative 6. That is it for evaluating functions and finding missing x values. Have a great day.